Hello and welcome back to Cars of Glasgow, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 Ford Mustang Mach-E, so stay tuned for this video. So the Ford Mustang Mach-E is a crossover kind of size like the Jaguar I-Pace, Audi e-tron, and it's on a fully electric car that Ford have produced. It's actually more of a crossover. I believe Ford have used the Mustang name just to kind of cash in on one of the strongest brand heritage, apart from the F-150, obviously the Ford Model T. Mustang's got a name synonymous with Ford when you hear the name Mustang. It's a four-door crossover, as I said. It's got a bit of a raised ride height. It's actually got two boots, which is quite cool. I went to the first look kind of launch here in Glasgow, and you managed to see the front of it. It's got like a kind of where the engine would typically be, a cargo area where it's large enough probably to fit like wellies, an overnight bag. It actually does have a drainage hole, so they were saying you could even hose down your dog in it if you wanted. And in the rear you've got traditional boot, which is pretty cavernous. I wasn't given anything that specific literage or anything on that day. From launch there's going to be two ranges available. There's going to be the standard range, which is about 260 miles are going to be aiming for. And then your extended range with the all-wheel drive is about 335 miles roughly, and they're hoping to be 0 to 60 in just under about 6.5 seconds, something like that. So it's going to be pretty fast, considering the size of the car and everything. So the price of the Ford Mustang Mach-E is expected to be around just over £40,000. This gives you things like the 18-inch alloy wheels, the LED lights. You get that 10-inch driver display along with the 15.5-inch touchscreen in the centre, it's kind of Tesla style, along with things like wireless charging, etc. If you go upgrade to the larger battery pack with the all-wheel drive, you also get some goodies like the panoramic roof, some cool paints, also with adaptive LED lights. So a couple of goodies, but there is about a 10 grand price difference between the two cars. So during the launch I managed to get to kind of see and feel what the car's like. It actually feels like a big Mondeo. The kind of build quality of it is very similar to my Ford Mondeo Titanium that I had a couple of years ago. Some of the builds and kind of switchgear is straight out of current Ford, so like the electronic kind of shifter is straight out of like the Ford Focus 1 litre that I looked at earlier on in the year. In addition, it's got cool like kind of door entry and exit buttons, so to get into the car you push this little button and then it pops open door. I think it's about 40mm, they said, so your hands can't get trapped. And then inside you've got like a little toggle switch, almost like aircraft style. You pull that back to get out the door or out the car. When you're inside, you see the interior of the car is dominated by these two screens. This being a pre-production model, didn't really have the car up and running, but just kind of a first look. Across the whole dash, because this is the kind of first edition all singing all dancing one, we've got a Bang & Olufsen system. The entire width of the dash kind of covered in this canvas fabric. Again, in the door panels we've got the Bang & Olufsen system with the canvas fabric as well. Again, the plastic quality isn't too bad. It's not quite up there with the Audi e-tron that I reviewed last year, but it's probably more on par with like a Ford Mondeo if you're expecting that, if you're going with that head. And it's also got a vegan leather, as they're calling it, or leather, man-made synthetic leather in the car as well, just to help with the whole ethos of the car, I guess, being environmentally friendly and things like that. So this particular car is finished in carbonised grey, that according to the configurator anyway, it's just over £1,000 option. Even things like your whites are about just over £1,000, and you've got infinite blue, rapid red, just all over £1,000 each for these colours. You can get iconic silver and space white for £700. Otherwise it's just absolute black, which is kind of ethos of Henry Ford back in the day when you can have any colour you want as long as it's black. So black's your free option on the Mach-E. So Ford were saying that the whole idea behind the car is to be one pedal driving. Being an automatic, you've not got a clutch obviously, and you've got an electric motor, there's hardly any gubbins to go wrong in the car. So the car's coming with an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty for the battery pack. And they were saying that with regards to the one pedal driving, because the car's got regenerative brakes, you'd expect just to use your gas pedal and lift off that and the car would slow down anyway. A bit like the BMW i3 if you've seen any of those videos. Just how it's going to work in these electric cars are all kind of similar, just trying to maximise the energy, so when you're braking the power goes back into the battery or back into the car in some way. Until we get a shot of it, or I get a shot of it later in the year. I think it's expected, if orders are in April, May time, and it's going to be on the road in November, so it's probably going to be 2021 before we even get a chance to drive one of these on the road. Also on the inside, this car's fitted with the panoramic roof. And I always think that panoramic roof's quite good because it helps lift the cabin, especially in the rear. I think seating for 4 is going to be pretty decent size on this. The overall height of the car is about 1.6 metres from the exterior, obviously up. And I was quite surprised. I thought it was going to be quite a large car, because the e-tron I felt was just a wee bit taller inside. When you're inside it, especially that sloping rear roof line, it didn't feel the largest in the back. I'm 5'11", and I'll probably get 4 of myself in the car, no bother. There is the middle seat, but probably leave that for emergencies or like maybe a child or something like that. So one of the main things I took away from the day is the fact that the Mach-E is meant to be getting over-the-air updates all the time. So if you bought a car, say now, they're saying it's going to help resale values maybe in 3 or 4 years' time. So if you're going to PCP the car, it's not going to be astronomical, maybe in comparison to other cars. Just a bit like the way Tesla do with their online over-the-air updates, maybe 1 or 2 years' time if the maps update or self-driving updates, autonomous driving, then that could be something to do. Speaking of all this, there's actually a panel in the door. You can put in a code or a temporary code to get access to the car. I think they were saying, say you had the key and you flew away, and you had a friend or a family member that required access to the car to go into the car or drive the car, you could give them a temporary code to get into the car. So that's something that's quite cool as well. I've not really seen that before. I've seen the keypad thing in old big American Crown Victorias or Lincoln Town cars, but the fact that they've got an updated version of that, something you can do on an app base, is quite good. And also, weirdly, or very uniquely marketing, I guess, they were saying you could use the front trunk as an area, say you're out away, leave that unlocked by the phone or something for people to put Amazon deliveries or something like that in it. That's also interesting to see or know, but you can do that, I guess, if you wanted, just have that kind of remote access with the Mach-E. I know styling is subjective, however, I think the Mach-E is quite a good looking car. From the front 3/4 angle, it does definitely have those Mustang character lines. So you'll notice at the rear 3/4, it's got this black panel above the C-pillar, so you've got the painted C-pillars from side on. Your eyes kind of tricked into thinking it's got this really sharp roof line, but really it doesn't. It's just a trick of the eye and trick of design. Overall, I think, as I said, it does look quite good. A couple bits here and there, I think the alloys could be a little bit more aggressive looking, but I guess they've probably been designed for efficiency. And then the front of it being quite with no air intakes or anything like that, because obviously there's no engine or radiators to cool down at the front. It's a lot of plastic and just kind of sheared off. But I think overall it's quite a nice car. And one thing to mention as well, they said at the rear, it's got the sequential tail lights, so just like those 1, 2, 3, just like the current Mustang, and kind of like your Audis and Lexus and things like that as well. I've now got the sequential light, seems to be a modern 2020 feature. So hopefully you guys found this video kind of useful and informative. It was kind of it was a very quick kind of launch, and kind of not the full proper launch. It's going to be in showrooms probably later on in the year, but I just wanted to get this video out to you and show you guys what the Mustang Mach-E kind of looks like at this stage. I believe there's only 8 at the moment, pre-production ones in the country, and then they're going to touring around the UK. So if you just check on the Ford website, if you are curious to see it, maybe it'll be in a Ford dealer near you over the next couple of months. So make sure you check out my Audi e-tron video. I'll leave the link for that below if you are looking at these electric kind of crossovers. Make sure you subscribe to Cars of Glasgow below. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and check us out on Instagram, Facebook and also Twitter. So thanks very much for watching Cars of Glasgow. I'll see you next video. Ciao!